Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Across China, relentless downpours are no longer just rain. They are walls of water crashing down like cascading waterfalls, swallowing cities, farmlands, and livelihoods in their path. Entire regions are submerged, families are displaced overnight, and the economic scars deepen with every passing storm. Ancient Chinese texts once warned that among the four great disasters, floods, fire, invasion, and chaos, water was the most merciless of all. Floods exist worldwide, but nowhere do they return with such brutal regularity as they do in China. And the reason is simple. Heavy rain is an act of nature, but catastrophic flooding is often engineered by human hands. Behind the images of devastation, collapsed homes, desperate evacuations, and shattered futures, stands a glaring contrast to the glossy political slogans and grand visions projected from Zhongnanhai. Today, we begin tracing the real roots of China's endless flood nightmare. Towering over this story is one structure in particular, the Three Gorges Dam, often described by critics as a colossal water bomb suspended above the heart of China. Official data from China's Ministry of Water Resources shows the country is packed with more than 98,000 dams, the highest number on Earth. While most are small or mid-sized, China alone controls nearly half of the world's large dams. Of the planet's 11 biggest hydropower projects, 6 are Chinese, including Three Gorges, Shiluodu, and Baihetan. As extreme rainfall becomes the new normal, these massive concrete giants are being pushed to their limits, especially the Three Gorges Dam, the largest ever built, looming over flood-prone Sichuan and Hubei. That makes it the unavoidable focal point of any serious discussion. The Three Gorges project broke ground roughly 3 decades ago and began storing water in 2003. From the very beginning, alarms were sounded, and they have never fully stopped. Long before construction started, China's own hydraulic experts fiercely opposed the project, warning of geological instability, sediment overload, and downstream risk. But political ambition overruled professional caution. Despite widespread resistance, the dam was forced forward as a symbol of national power and technological triumph. Yet the question remains chilling. If it were ever to fail, the resulting torrent would erase entire cities downstream, drown millions of people, and destroy vast stretches of fertile land, pushing China's already fragile food security toward collapse. Year after year, this silent threat hangs above the population like a loaded weapon filled with water. But history offers a striking counterexample. On the fertile plains of Sichuan stands a water control system far older than any modern megadam, yet infinitely more resilient. For over 2,200 years, it has tamed floods, nourished agriculture, and survived wars, dynasties, and earthquakes without collapsing. This is Zhongnanhai, a masterpiece built not on domination, but on cooperation with nature. Constructed during the Warring States period by Governor Li Bing, Zhongnanhai transformed ancient Shu into one of China's richest agricultural heartlands. Instead of blocking the Min River, it gently guides it. A fish-mouth-shaped levee divides the flow into inner and outer channels, adjusting naturally with the seasons, sending more water away during floods and conserving it during droughts. Water entering the inner river passes through the Baoping Gate, irrigating the western Sichuan plains, while the Fascia Weir quietly releases excess flow back to the outer river whenever levels rise too high. No brute force, no concrete wall, just balance. Generation after generation preserved this design, respecting its original philosophy rather than rewriting it for vanity or spectacle. Even during the catastrophic 2008 Wenchuan earthquake, Zhongnanhai remained largely intact, a silent testament to wisdom over ambition. What makes Zhongnanhai extraordinary is not just engineering, but worldview. It embodies the ancient belief that humanity must move in harmony with heaven and earth, not stand in opposition. This principle, deeply rooted in China's 5,000-year civilization, teaches that nature is not an enemy to be conquered, but a force to be understood and guided. Its origins stretch back even further, to the legendary flood-taming achievements of Yu the Great, who succeeded not by blocking waters, but by giving them pathways. When societies are driven by aggression, spectacle, and wolf warrior thinking, lasting peace and safety become impossible. In eras guided by morality and respect for natural law, great projects sought balance rather than domination. The ancients believed humans were microcosms of the universe, inseparable from the rhythms of the natural world, and that belief shaped everything they built. Today, floods along the Yangtze grow stronger, faster, and more destructive with each passing year. Every flood season repeats the same cycle: torrential rain, emergency dam discharges, and heartbreaking losses. And each time, one haunting question echoes across the nation: will the Three Gorges Dam hold, or will it break? In the rest of this program, we will examine this question from multiple angles and uncover what is truly at stake. From the very first sketches on the drawing board, the Three Gorges Dam was already facing fierce resistance. A group of China's top hydrology and engineering minds warned that this project was not a triumph, but a looming disaster. Among them was Huang Wanli, widely regarded as one of the nation's most respected water control experts. In desperation, he wrote directly to the top leadership, pleading for just half an hour, 30 minutes, to explain why the dam should never be built. That meeting never happened. Huang Wanli passed away without being heard, repeating the same final warning until his last breath: stop this project. Huang Wanli did not speak in vague fears. He left behind 12 precise predictions. He warned that the lower Yangtze would dry up and its riverbanks would crumble, that shipping lanes would become unreliable, and that mass relocations would spiral into social disaster. He foresaw worsening floods, polluted water, disappointing power output, abnormal climate shifts, increased seismic activity, the spread of disease-carrying insects, and irreversible ecological damage. He warned of intensified upstream flooding. And finally, he delivered a chilling conclusion. One day, the dam would have to be destroyed. Today, 11 of those 12 predictions have already materialized. Only the final chapter remains unwritten. But here is the uncomfortable truth. The dam does not need to be intentionally demolished to unleash catastrophe. The real nightmare begins if pressure alone forces it to fail. For years, the Three Gorges Dam has been described as a water bomb, yet few truly understand what that means. In 2020, Professor Zhang Tianliang of Fei Tian College analyzed a worst-case collapse scenario. He pointed out that the reservoir's normal water level sits more than 140 meters above downstream terrain and climbs even higher during extreme rainfall. That difference creates relentless crushing pressure against the structure. If the dam were to give way, a massive surge of water, over 100 meters high, would thunder downstream within hours. Yichang would be the first to face annihilation. The Gajuba Dam, downstream and structurally vulnerable, would be obliterated, along with nearby power facilities. The floodwave would race forward at speeds approaching 100 kilometers per hour, carrying a towering front wall of water dozens of meters high. Nothing in its path would be able to resist it. Large sections of Yichang would disappear beneath more than 20 meters of water. Escape would be nearly impossible. Only those evacuated by air after the collapse of Gajuba might stand a chance, and the destruction would not stop there. The flood would barrel through Jingzhou and Xiangyang, then crash into Wuhan, effectively erasing the city, before spreading across the Zhanghan Plain and pouring into Hunan and Jiangxi. Eventually, the surge would reach Nanjing. The reason is simple and terrifying. The Three Gorges Reservoir alone holds a volume of water comparable to the Yellow River's entire annual flow. In such a scenario, everything from Yichang to Nanjing would be swallowed by floods tens of meters deep, forming a vast inland sea. Then came 2025. Floods tore through China with an intensity unseen in decades. Entire provinces vanished beneath muddy torrents. Farmland that once fed millions turned into lifeless lakes overnight, wiping out harvests and worsening an already fragile food supply. Highways, railways, and bridges collapsed as floodwaters hollowed out their foundations, paralyzing transport and cutting off major cities. Tens of thousands of families lost their homes in hours. Industrial parks were submerged, triggering chemical leaks, factory shutdowns, and a new wave of unemployment. Even state media struggled to disguise the scale of the losses. What happened in 2025 was not just a flood, it was a national stress test that exposed how brittle China's infrastructure had become. As rainfall intensified, dozens of dams across central and southwestern China were forced to open their spillways. Walls of water surged downstream without warning, overwhelming towns and villages. Residents described the scenes as sudden, inland tsunamis, with water levels rising meters in minutes, sweeping away cars, shops, and entire communities. Quiet admissions followed. Many reservoirs were already full, dangerously overloaded, and on the edge of failure. Emergency releases saved the dams, but sacrificed the people below.